Welcome to Aaron's Heart. My name is Darby and I'll be your bartender. Today, our special is the Brandy Crusta. All right, so the Brandy Crusta or Custra, I'm not quite sure. I've heard a couple different pronunciations of it, but I'm gonna go, because I'm American, I'm gonna go with Crusta. Very early cocktail, kind of the same period as what we now, so the old fashioned, right? The old fashioned is kind of what we consider like a true classic. It is actually a version of the improved whiskey cocktail, which was about 1809 to 1820-ish, somewhere in that range. The cocktail we're making today, the Brandy Crusta, I'm gonna mess that up at some point. Somewhere between 1840 and 1850. Is when this one was first kind of introduced in a slightly different variation than what we're doing today. Because today we're doing the slightly rediscovered and reinterpreted kind of for the modern palate, right? Over time, our tastes have changed considerably, and from the 1800s to now, our tastes in cocktails have definitely changed. And actually, this was rediscovered fairly recently in about 2007 and kind of made its re-debut, I guess, in about mid-2007, 2008, after this book by David Wondrich, Imbibe. If you don't have this and you're into cocktails, I really recommend. I got this on Amazon. It was pretty cheap, like 20-something dollars, I think, on Amazon. It's a really good read. It's very, very interesting. He goes through, David Wondrich is kind of like the, I don't know, I guess he's like a cocktail historian, right? So he went through and he found a bunch of these old recipes, a lot of original recipes that he gives you the original recipe, which is really cool. Now, they're done considerably differently than how we do them now. The book came out in about 2007, and this is one of the cocktails that was in it. It made its resurgence, its comeback, mid-2007, 2008. And there's a lot of history there. If you want to look it up, it's very interesting. I believe some serious New Orleans influences, some Louisiana influences are there, if that may be where this is even from. So, because this does use one ingredient that is fairly notorious in Louisiana, New Orleans, and that is this, which is, today we're using this Ciroc VS, or very special brandy. French brandy, French cognac is very much an ingredient that they use quite a bit, or they used to use quite a bit in New Orleans, and it's one that I really, really like. It's not unusual now for modern taste to drink brandy or cognac right on the rocks. That's a pretty common thing now. It used to not be so much. It used to just purely be an ingredient that was used in cocktails. And today we're doing something that I have a whole bunch of ingredients here, and it's not a tiki drink. So this is quite a lot, especially for such an old cocktail, but it is fairly close. All the ingredients are essentially the same as the original. They're just in slightly different ratios, which I do think is actually better. I've tried both, and this one I think is better. I wanted to try both before I actually filmed this to see, but let's go ahead and get into making this thing. Let's go through our ingredients, and I'll stop rambling now. All right, so obviously we're using brandy. This is our base spirit. You can use kind of any brandy. I really do like the Ciroc. It's very mild. It's not very aggressive. Now this does, obviously it's called the brandy, not the cognac. So I would use a brandy. I wouldn't use a cognac, okay? Difference is fairly minute in my opinion, but they do make that distinction. So for your Brandy Crusta, go with a brandy, okay? Don't go with a cognac. Brandies are typically cheaper too anyway. Cognacs kind of have a name association thing. You're gonna need Cointreau or a dry Curacao of some sort. Yes, I know this isn't technically a dry Curacao, but unless you want me to use something that's blue, that's the only other thing I have here. I didn't realize I was actually out of my regular dry Curacao. This is a decent substitute. This will work, okay? Don't use a triple sec, they tend to be too sweet. Grand Marnier is also a decent substitute if you have it, but if you can get it, just buy regular dry Curacao. Don't use the blue, all right? Don't use blue Curacao. It is technically the correct thing, but it's not. Don't use that, it'll be weird. You're gonna need Maraschino liqueur. I'm using this Luxardo. You do not need Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. There's a bunch of different ones out there. This is just the one that I prefer. It's not very sweet, which I really like. Maraschino liqueur is a cherry liqueur. You're gonna need fresh lemon juice, or in my lemon juice, my blue tape lemon juice from Walmart. A bit of simple syrup and Angostura bitters. I know, it's a lot and it's not a tiki drink. What's going on here? Then you're also gonna need a shaker. So this is shaken. I went through this recipe a couple of times, and because there is citrus in it, obviously we have to go ahead and shake that. So let's go ahead and start making this thing. It's super, super simple, okay? It's just a lot of ingredients. 2 ounces of our brandy. Oh, my brandy's pouring out all over the place. My little top is wearing out, I think. A 1/4 ounce, right, of our Curacao. A 1/4 ounce is not very much. You'll notice that using a 1/4 ounce will kind of keep this undersweetened. Your brandy is kind of your sweet element here, along with your simple syrup, okay? Now, we're gonna need a 1/2 ounce of our lemon juice to kind of keep things in check, and a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. There's all of the sweetness you'll ever need. 1 dash-ish. If you've got one of the like Japanese style dasher bottles, 2 dashes equals 1 in those. So we're gonna go 1 big dash. Try not to drip it all over the place. Just so you guys know, things like Angostura bitters will stain anything it stays on. So if you get it on your countertops, like if you've got white countertops, you get it on a butcher block countertop, get it up quickly. It will stain it, okay? I don't care, and here, that's what the bar top is for. All right, now, last but not least, we're gonna need 1 bar spoon-ish of our Maraschino liqueur. So that's a little over a bar spoon, but it is what it is. Now, let's get some ice. So for this, you could serve this up or you could serve it on the rocks. It's totally up to you. I'm gonna serve this up, and I'll show you why in a minute. My ice is not wanting to break as well today. There we go. All right. I'm gonna put a bunch of ice in there. So, because this is gonna be served up and my glass is sitting here in front of me, and there's a reason for that. Now, we're gonna set that off to the side for just a second, because here's what we're gonna do next, right? We're gonna make the crusta part of our Brandy Crusta. So, our garnish is gonna be a twist of lemon. So I'm gonna go ahead, use a regular peeler, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull a nice big swath of this off real quick. And you could totally put a cherry in this if you really wanted to, especially if you had some cool like Luxardo cherries, but that's not really necessary, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my lemon in half. I've got a plate of plain white sugar here. This is our crusta part of our Brandy Crusta. A lot of people will use citrus, right? Use citrus, use a lime, use a lemon, use an orange. Whatever your citrus that's in your cocktail, use on your rim. A lot of people will put this into a plate or into a dish and soak the outside and soak the inside and soak the whole rim. If that's your thing, cool. That's not my thing. I don't want sugar or salt on the inside, right? I want to keep it on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lemon and I'm just going to wipe the outside, right? I'm going to do about half-ish. Let's kind of give it a little beard. So go all the way around if you want to go all the way around. Sometimes I don't want all that sugar in there. So I leave half open, half salted, sugared, tahined, whatever your flavoring ingredient is, right? And then that makes an absolutely awful noise. So if you guys are hearing that, I'm so sorry. But just kind of get a decent amount of sugar on the outside of your glass. And this is what makes our crusta the crusta, right? So you can't really leave this out. It's like salting the rim on a margarita. It's kind of just a thing that is supposed to be done, okay? And it actually does really, really well in this cocktail. Let's set our lemon garnish off to the side. Go ahead and give this a good hard shake. If you're gonna serve this up, which I am, you're gonna wanna shake it a little extra, right? Get it extra cold, dilute it as much as you are aiming to dilute, right? Now, it seems as though, be right back. And we're back. Okay, so after an absolute disaster there that just happened, we're back and we're right where we left off. Now, let's go ahead and pour our Brandy Crusta into our glass. Now, normally this is supposed to be served in a coupe, which you totally could, because a coupe is much smaller. I'm using these giant double rocks glasses, so I guess we're gonna have to go ahead and fill it out using an ice cube, right? And that's the thing about cocktails is people get really upset when they see how little alcohol is actually in it. But that's the difference between this and a beer, right? You know, if you're drinking beer, drinking wine, you're drinking something that's about half the proof of this. So don't get upset when you see how little alcohol is actually in something. That's really a very poor representation. And, you know, I'll sit on the side of the bartenders all day long on this one because I was there once. All right, let's give our little twist of lemon. We're just gonna go ahead and drop that bad boy right in there. And ladies and gentlemen, the Brandy Crusta is a beautiful golden color that brandy really does. Oh, the smell too. Oh my goodness. The smell is so rich, right? Because the brandy itself is very, very, very rich. And then you've got lemon comes through a little bit. It's very muted. Mostly what I'm getting is my lemon peel and that little express right there on top. Funny enough, the Maraschino liqueur, if you know what it smells like, it comes through. So what we're gonna do first, I'm gonna sample this without the sugar, and then I'll give you a sample with the sugar. And that's delightful. It almost has this, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it is just delightful. It's almost sweet enough to be dessert, but it's not sweet enough to quite be dessert yet. The Maraschino liqueur plays so well with the brandy. The Dry Curacao, or in my case, Cointreau, plays so well with the brandy. Everything's very, very balanced. Everything's very level, very even. This is such a wonderful cocktail for literally any time of day. Now let's go ahead and get some of that sugar crust. And that sweetens it up, makes it very bright. It's funny, right? Brandy and cognac generally are dark and heavy. I would venture to say, they typically are considered darker and heavier and more dessert after dinner oriented than even whiskey, right? A lot of your whiskeys are very dark and heavy, and people associate them with nighttime and fall and winter and things like that. And I really think that cognac and brandy get lumped in there as well. And this absolutely proves that that is not at all the case, right? It's a beautiful combination. It almost has, funny enough, it almost has these apple notes, right? That really come out. I think it really is a combination of such a good brandy with the Maraschino. The Dry Curacao definitely leaves a nice little bitterness in there. The lemon gives it a little bit of bright perkiness in your mouth. And then there's just enough sugar, and there's just enough bitter from our one big dash of bitters in there that it really just balances everything out. Gives you nice, clean, long, it continually evolves. It's a constantly evolving drink. Every time I've taken a sip so far, it has been a little different. It's so wonderful. It's cold, it's bracing, but it's not. I could literally drink this any time of year. I could drink this in the middle of summer and I would be thrilled. I could drink this and there could be 6 feet of snow. Not that I'll ever have 6 feet of snow here in Florida, but I could drink this in the middle of winter in 6 feet of snow and be thrilled, because it is beautifully versatile. And really, if you wanted to make it a little richer, a little heavier, you could bring the Maraschino up a little bit and bring the lemon down a little bit. If you wanted this to be even brighter, I would put just a hair more lemon in there and just bring it up and brighten it up even more. But overall, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal cocktail for any time of year. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to possibly one of my new favorites, the Brandy Crusta. It's delightful, it's bright, it's fun. It has richness, but it also is very subtle. It has sweetness, but it's not overbearing. That is everything that a classic cocktail should be. It is slightly reinvented from its original. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did and you'd like to see some more, please come back. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It does help me keep growing. And I would love to see more and more and more growth, because that would just be awesome. Thank you guys so very much. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'll have links down below. There's no official partnership or anything, but I do want to shout out, if you guys are in the area and you're in, say, Northwest Florida like I am, or you're able to get online and order, please check these guys out. This is Timber Creek Distillery here in Northwest Florida. They are absolutely phenomenal. And I just wanted to shout them out because I got to go, when this goes up, it'll be 2 weeks ago now. But I got to go to the distillery, I got to meet the owner, I got to talk to them, and really got to experience a lot of cool stuff out there. So please give them a check. If you're in the area, awesome. If not, maybe reach out to them. They are on Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So they're a really, really cool distillery, and I really would like to see them grow even more than they already are. They're a very small operation. There's only about 4 people that work there. So definitely check them out. But other than that, on my side, I hope that you maybe try something new, try something a little different. This is definitely different than my norm. I would not have thought to make this until I saw it in Imbibe and I did a little research. If you're interested in some really cool cocktail history, check out David Wondrich and his book Imbibe. I am not sponsored at all, but I think this is an awesome book, and if you are interested in cocktail history, it's definitely one to check out. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and until next time, cheers. Oh, that's just too good. Yep, that is way too good.